Well. Everyone's up in arms, screaming, crying. Bitcoin's at 64,000, 65,000, $66,000 US trash tokens, US cuck tokens. Well, which way do we think society's going, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to learn an $18,000 lesson. We're all going to learn $18,000 lessons. Every single person. We got a lot of crash outs. We got a lot of shenanigans going on. We also have the U.S. national men's and women's hockey team beating Canada in the gold medal games. Not the way I would have liked to see the game play out necessarily. Thought it was going to be a little different game. However, the legendary aspect of what happened afterward and the way people responded, the class act of Jack Hughes and many on the team. Amazing. Amazing stuff to see. What a great day for just freedom in general. But first, we have to talk about this. I purchased this Taproot Wizards NFT last year for $18,000. Today it's worth $5. Well, actually, you learned an $18,000 lesson. You learned an $18,000 lesson, and guess what? You'll never make that mistake again. This will never happen to you again. You will know better now going forward. Really, this channel, what we do here, have the guests on, have what we talk about here, this will just be the education, the vindication, the true properties, the learning, the understanding of what's actually happening, of what's really going on in the world. Because clearly, there's just very few people that still know what in the actual hell is going on. This is an expensive lesson that everyone's going to... I have a bunch of crash outs we're going to look at here. This is a wild time we're living in. Beyond wild time. So here are the boys. Got the Goudreau children out there. Got Johnny's jersey. Amazing stuff.
Day of the gold medal. It's for all the guys that have come before.
Got Jack out here celebrating. If you haven't seen Jack Hughes speak, you got to go watch him talk. But we're going to talk about... Look at some of these crash outs. This is just amazing stuff. Absolutely amazing stuff. We've got Clavicular going off about Bitcoin, calls it effing garbage and a piece of shit. I bet that half the people are on suicide watch. I said Bitcoin is dog shit. I said I don't trust this garbage. It's a horrible investment. Everyone said Rose a retard, Knowles and him. Well, vindicated. You guys are a bunch of retards and buying into this. How do you believe this? A completely decentralized, unregulated, basically nothing? It's not a thing. It's not a product. It's a bunch of numbers, and you guys are investing in this. This is wild. This is what happens. This is what happens when you have people that don't know anything about anything, and you give them a big pedestal. You give them a big platform to talk about. We see this everywhere. I see this with attorneys on here talking about Bitcoin. We see it with Wall Street types talking about Bitcoin on here. We see it with gamers and Twitch streamers talking about Bitcoin. The questions that are never asked, literally zero questions asked about current fiat government currency coin you are using, and you ask nothing. It's stealing and literally confiscating your time and energy from you every single day. Every breath you take is being stolen from you. And not only that, not only your time and energy being wasted away and stolen from you through inflation, through the printing of that government currency, you have no access to it. If you want it, you go to the bank and they ask you what you're doing with it. And if it's not the right answer, or even if you don't even go do whatever it is they don't like that day, they will censor you. They will freeze you out of your account. We see it all over the world. We see it in America. We see it in Canada, the Canadian truckers. We see it the Dutch farmers. How many more times do we need this stuff? The crash outs are wild. They are amazing. I'm here for it. Bitcoiners live in a certain paradox where you're sad if the Bitcoin price goes up because you can't stack more cheap sats. And you're sad, honestly, for the people around you that can't get more cheap sats and they can't, maybe they're not in the Bitcoin network yet and they can't get on the life raft and acquire as much. But, you know, maybe that's moot point, because at the end of the day, as we said many times, the last person on the Bitcoin standard, the 8 billionth person on the Bitcoin network, will still stand to benefit as society improves around them and the people improve and the cost of living goes down and the standard of living goes up over time. So even the very last person will win. That's the beauty of owning a network when humans have their time and energy and they have ownership of it and their agency is raised, and they also start understanding that they have options in life. They don't have to be on the hamster wheel their entire life. They can actually pursue their callings or passions. Think about that time. Think about that time we could live in, and we don't. We choose to accept. We choose. How many times do you hear, "Oh, Bitcoin, oh, whatever. It's okay. It's not. It's government's going to do this though. Government's going to do that. Government's going to do this. This is wild. This is absolutely wild. The time we are living in, because people believe the government garbage. They believe the legacy narrative. They believe the government narrative. We are the government. You control the government. The government is there instituted among men at the consent of the governed, not the other way around. When governments are afraid of the people, you have freedom. When you are afraid of your government, you have tyranny. And that's where we've been really the last 100 years, especially since 1971, 64, 1913. These are the times that try men's souls. People don't believe it. People think they can just whistle by the graveyard and nothing's going to happen. But the crash outs are wild, and they're going to continue getting worse. I've said this for 20 years now. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And boy, is it continue to get worse. The wealth gap has continued to spiral out of control. The poverty, the cities absolutely deteriorating anywhere and everywhere. People crashing out all over the place because they don't know what they own. They don't know the current system. They literally do nothing, zero to understand it. Steals from them every single day. They have no control, no agency. Government-run schools conform, comply, obey. And then you have a new emergent technology, basically the discovery of fire or the printing press or the car, making the horse obsolete. And we're questioning the car. We're questioning Bitcoin all the time. We think of every possible thing in order to shut your mind down. Oh, I didn't have to do that work. Yes, I'm so glad I don't have to do the work anymore. I'm pumped up. I didn't want to have to. I'm tired. I'm on that fiat hamster wheel all day long, working for those government cuckbucks. And I really didn't want to have to study this new Bitcoin thing. I didn't want to study. The beauty of Bitcoin and the craziness, it's a 4-letter word. Get it. I got it. It's been almost 10 years since I really grokked Bitcoin. 9 years, right? And you realize it's a 4-letter word. You hear a lot of people hear Bitcoin and they just their mind shuts off. It's just like, you might as well be red versus blue at this point. But the beauty of Bitcoin is that it teaches you about that entire system. It teaches you about the fallacy of red versus blue politics. It teaches you about energy. It teaches you about what's going on in the world, the military-industrial complex, the wars that we're in. It teaches you about all these things that you never, ever would know just looking at the legacy media. All the shiny objects they have you chasing, the squirrels going down these different holes trying to chase multiple squirrels at one time, the laser pointer like your little cat trying to follow all of it. Absolutely wild. Here's another one. Everyone's piling on now. People are realizing that Bitcoin is what it's always been, which is simply a speculative asset. Okay, speculative asset. I mean, again, what are we doing here at this point? The dollar. There could not be more speculative of an asset than the United States dollar. It is backed by firearms. It is backed by an aircraft carrier. It is backed by, more importantly, confidence. A confidence game. It is backed by people believing it has value today and tomorrow and the next day. But at some point, you can argue with me all you want. You can say whatever you want. Oh, Brandon, At some point, there becomes a saturation point. There's a tipping point in society. The iceberg melts enough and enough people. I don't know what that point is. None of us know. You don't know. I don't know. At what point do people say, I've had enough? I've had enough of being stolen from. I've had enough of being gaslit and being told CPI, consumer price inflation, or Putin price hikes, fake government, hedonistic adjustments. Oh, there's 100,000 jobs. And we lost 1 million. I mean, what are we doing? At some point, enough people say, I'm done. And it looks like every day we get closer to that, but we ain't there yet, folks. We ain't there. At some point, there's a tipping point, and people say, yeah, I don't believe in this fake currency. I mean, look, you have China, you have all kinds of different entities over the last 10, 15 years not buying the treasuries anymore. They're losing confidence. We freeze Russia out of the SWIFT system. They're losing confidence. People losing confidence. The nails in the dollar coffin have been going on for at least a good 17 years in the sense of what Mike Maloney has been tracking the actual nails in the coffin of the dollar and people usurping going around the dollar system. This is speeding up and it's going faster than ever. At some point, again, people can tell me all they want. It's never going to happen. There's no way. It's gradually and then suddenly. As Parker Lewis wrote in his book, his amazing book, at some point we get to a saturation point. So the speculative asset that Tom here is talking about, speculation of what? Yeah, I'm speculating. Actually, I'm not even speculating. I know the government currency. I just talked about this the other day. The other day, we just talked about this. The government just put out a study recently in the last week or two that the government is going to print, we have a $63 trillion debt in 10 years. $63 trillion in debt in 10 years from now. Do we think that's conservative? Do we think that's too much? Which way do we think it's going? Do we think it's going to go the other way all of a sudden? We will absolutely be beyond that. Black swans will happen. More printing will happen. Craziness will happen. This is what happens. An $18,000 lesson that Ashley learned, that when you put your time and energy, you store your time and energy in the dollar or a fake NFT. I just saw Jake Paul recently. Jake Paul bought his NFT, his JPEG for 650 grand, and now it's worth like $5 or 130 bucks or something like that. 130. Ashley's worth 5. Sorry, I digress. But that's where we are. When you don't put in the work, when you're chasing trends, when you're believing what the government is slopping up to you, you will get what you deserve at the end of the day. You will get what you deserve. This is absolutely what will happen. It's just absolutely wild. It's absolutely wild what is going on right now. That people cannot see this, but they will. Time converts more than reason. The Merrill Lynch trader. Again, remember, follow the money. These people aren't incentivized. You have people that have made a living off the fiat system. They don't even know why. They don't even know why they've gotten ahead in life. But they're here to tell you how bad Bitcoin is all of a sudden. And even think about that. Bitcoin, a 21 million hard cap, something you can't mess with. That's what people don't like. I mean, again, check the signal and the noise. I've said for years that Bitcoin is an ego and humility test, but it's also a comprehension test in what kind of person are you? Let's just be real. Let's call it what it is. The people fudding Bitcoin, you're either one of two people. Maybe three. You either haven't done the homework, you're lazy, you're stupid, or you're evil. Those are the three people. If you're not in Bitcoin, if you're not pushing Bitcoin, if you are not pushing Bitcoin all the time as for the betterment of humanity, you are one of those three things. At this point, like what can anyone say to that? You either haven't done the work, you haven't put the hours in to understand Bitcoin and what's actually happening, you're stupid, or you're evil. And inherently, a lot of people, they are scared. They are scared of their job being gone. They don't know what's happening. People accept AI like, oh yeah, look at AI. I got all kinds of things here. And here we could talk about AI and see what's going on with AI and it turning on humanity and it's plotting how to kill people. Like, again, that's the world we're going into. At what world do we think that's going to operate and be great in a fiat world with paper dollars? It's not going to work. Whether Bitcoin's here or AI exists or not, it's not going to be here. Bitcoin is not replacing gold. It's not digital gold. It doesn't do the same thing. You're right. It does more than gold. It doesn't give people the same utility that gold does. What are you talking about? Utility. Utility is a word used by gold bugs and silver bugs. And it's a word used by altcoiners because they think that all of a sudden they have something one up on Bitcoin. Ours is faster on the main layer. Yes, you don't want scalability on the main layer of your money. That's not a good idea. Because now you're sacrificing decentralization or security. You're sacrificing and creating a bigger surface area of attack. You're now saying we need more data in this. And so now the nodes have to run with more data. And now when less and less people can run the nodes because the data is now becoming too much, and we get to a point, again, a saturation point where not enough people can run nodes. Now you have a tipping point of centralization where things start becoming centralized because there's so much data in the blocks that the average person can't run a node. That's not good. Now you are encroaching on the security of the network, the decentralization of the network, and you're increasing the attack area, the surface area of attack. That's the beauty of Bitcoin. Keep the main thing the main thing. We get lost in the sauce. We get lost in all the price, and we get lost in this and these fights and whatever. It's ridiculous. The beauty of Bitcoin is that it's slow and it's unchanging, and it prioritizes security and decentralization. Gold is physical. Therefore, it cannot be global money. You can have gold and silver. I am a proponent of gold and silver. I used to be gold and silver guy. I'm gonna have to start saying this every single time. But if you are telling me you want a global society and people to be able to transact everywhere, you want to be able to transact from state to state in America or transact around the world, and you want an incorruptible ledger that someone else can't mess with. If that's not a priority to you, then get out of here. Then go. Then be gone. But if you're not putting, again, this goes back to what I said a minute ago. If the number one priority, that is a 1 second decision, by the way, of choosing to use money that doesn't steal from you, doesn't steal from humanity. It raises the standard of living, keeps your time and energy in your hands, and gives you agency over your life. See, again, the problem is people don't want to understand, and they don't want to realize that there are people running much of the world right now that simply think they're better than you. They believe, and I shouldn't say they believe they're better than you. And that doesn't light a fire under you. You don't care. You don't care enough because your will has been broken. Your will has been broken. You accept the company line. You accept the slop that comes from the government. You accept the slop that comes from legacy media. You accept the slop that comes from school, government-run schools. They've sufficiently broken enough of the will of the human collective that they don't know how to fight back. They don't know that they run the governments. That fire is not going away in me. It'll never go away. I just don't care. Because at the end of the day, if we don't have that, what do we have? What do we have? My biggest job here is to change context for enough people, to go out and find the 99% of people, the 99.9% of people who just quite simply aren't woken up yet. They're in the stupor still. That's my job. That's been my job my entire life since I was a kid, and it will continue to be my job. I'm not the technical expert that's going to tell you, how the layers of this and the chain and the second layer and third layer. I know generally about all those things. I know a fair amount, but I'm not the expert. I'm not the guy who's going to be able to teach like a professor in a class doing that. I'm a context shifter. I'm someone who is going to hopefully spark something inside one person today to say, you know what? I'm not taking this anymore. I'm not doing this anymore. Shift the context. And once the context is shifted, you start questioning things around us, then the content inside the head can go change. So Tom's saying that utility that gold has. Well, again, that's the problem. The utility of gold and silver is why they need to be just doing said things. They're not money. They're not global money. They fulfill the properties of money, but they're also not perfectly finite. So the utility scam is also something which is really wild because people think that it's some dig against Bitcoin, when in reality, the greatest feature of Bitcoin is it's the best money humans have ever discovered. That's kind of an important utility, right? Utility is cutscene downstream. Utility is downstream. There's intrinsic value and extrinsic value. It's subjective at the end of the day. People say, oh, Bitcoin has no intrinsic value. Gold and silver does. Well, if I don't care about gold and silver, if I'm not using anything that has gold and silver in my life, yes, I know the computer has some gold and silver and stuff like that, but that's subjective. I don't need to use these things. I don't have to. I could go and work in the fields. I could go you farm or something like that. Right? Like there's all kinds of scenarios where this plays out. But the whole point is saying is that utility or value is subjective at the end of the day. There's intrinsic and extrinsic value. In the utility argument, the greatest utility you could have is literally having a money that's not stolen away from the average person. And where governments can't print it into oblivion and do whatever in the world they want with it and create satanic rings of people around the world. That's kind of an important thing. Do you think it's not? But people resign themselves to believing there's nothing they can do. They just, oh, well, government's going to do this. Well, because of that attitude, these things persist. Because you don't believe one person can change anything. All it takes is one person. And then orange pills, red pills, the next person. And then the next person, the next person. That's how this happens. The butterfly effect. This is literally how things change. But because our will's been broken, because we don't care, we don't do anything. It's not an inflation hedge, she says also. It's not an inflation hedge. Yeah, you're right. Going up 1 million % in the last 17 years is definitely not an inflation hedge. Again, shows lack of awareness, shows evil, stupidity. What do you mean it's not an inflation hedge? It is the solution to inflation. It's not a hedge. It is the solution. It's a protocol outside of the system. Like we've showed many times. Bitcoin is the solution. It is the life raft. Your Titanic, your US dollar Titanic is going down. It's going to the bottom of the sea. Bitcoin is the life raft off of said Titanic. This is not a hard concept. This is super easy concept. Then I'll be damned if I'm going to be gaslit back into any other system. It's open source, verifiable protocol that's voluntary, for crying out loud. This is, I mean, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. This is voluntary. Think of all the people that are in the Bitcoin network now. The Bitcoin network is bigger than what? I don't have the numbers right in front of me, and maybe someone could tell me. But is it, I'm guessing, still bigger, the entire Bitcoin market cap, bigger than all the other 100 million, 20 million, 10 million other altcoins combined? That's the market telling you. That's the market. The economic actors are saying, hey, this is the thing, the most secure protocol to hold my time and energy long term. I trust this thing. That's what it's telling you. This will continue to bear itself out over time. The government admitted to you they're printing double the amount of currency in the next 10 years. It'll probably be triple. This is where we're at in the end game. It's hard to see day to day, but it's a very simple concept to understand. You just have to zoom out. You got to back away from the Titanic. You have to get on the life raft. You can really only see it once you understand Bitcoin, not when you buy Bitcoin, but when you buy Bitcoin, when someone buys Bitcoin for the first time, or maybe runs a node, whatever it is, puts their sats in cold storage. Those are maybe some of the inflection points where you start realizing, I need to really understand this. And now I've got some skin in the game. I really do need to understand what I own now. And once you go down that Bitcoin rabbit hole, that's where the learning really happens. That's where you start realizing, oh my goodness, the system around me is absolutely collapsing. Everything is collapsing. The Titanic is going down, but you can't see it from sitting in gold and silver. You cannot see the Titanic. I was that guy. I was that guy raising money, buying rental properties and doing apartments and real estate and all this stuff. I was the guy holding gold and silver and saving gold and silver. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. I was the guy who was super political in the 2000s. I came from these worlds in the 2000s, very political, red versus blue, fighting politics, arguing with professors, arguing with teachers. Then I was gold and silver guy. Then I became real estate guy, all on that for 10 years, for 12 years. I had all the experience. I had all of that. 20 years of gold and silver and macro and rates and this and that. I got to learn, the yen carry trade and all the, I was the savant at that time, right? Like this is 10 years ago when YouTube, like it was just kind of coming out, the macro, the podcasts and, the Mike Maloney's of the world doing it for 15 years, but there was not a lot of guys out there 15 years ago. I mean, some of you probably remember, but you're learning all these things. And then, being very political, and then seeing all this whole process leads you to, you're searching for answers because you are humbling yourself to maybe there's another answer out there. I came to Bitcoin because I chose to continually hopefully remove my humility. I might sound brash. I might sound cocky when I do things like that. It's because I'm frustrated. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. But my whole goal is to shift context of one person of one human and then go down the road. Humble yourself that maybe what you thought isn't so. Maybe the altcoin that I have isn't the thing that everyone in the world is going to glom onto. Maybe that dollar, that yen, that lira, that bolivar, maybe that's not going to be here since we know 100% of government currencies have all gone to zero in human history. Maybe gold and silver isn't how people are, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, 10 years from now are going to transact with their AI agent. It's not going to be shavings of gold and silver. I left gold and silver because some of these things became apparent, because I lowered my ego, because I tried to stay humble. I moved from one thing to another when facts change. I am open that there could be a new Bitcoin someday. Currently, that's not the case. There's a lot of imitators. There's a lot of affinity scams. There's a lot of things out there that have tried to be Bitcoin, that have tried to scam off of Bitcoin. There's some that use the exact code of Bitcoin. That's the beauty of Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin as of right now. Because the market knows, hey, why would I use a copy of the same Bitcoin code when I can just get the real Bitcoin that has all the security, the miners, the nodes, and it's got the whole network. That's the Lindy effect. It's been here for this long, so it's probably going to continue. The network gets harder and harder to roll back. This is how the game works. So you have two worlds. Either people aren't smart enough to understand it because they're like, oh, this is way too complicated, or it's too easy. It's too simple. The Lindy effect, like some of these explanations are too simple for the average person. They've been trained that, oh, life, it can't be that simple. I got to go to school for 12 years for it to be, there's no way it's that simple. So people whistle by the graveyard. And then on top of that, you layer on the experiences of their life, but also what the government's told them their whole life, what media's told them their whole life, what Hollywood's told them their whole life. The dollar is ingrained in our culture, obviously. You got, a million songs about the dollar and the greenback, Benjamins, all these things, right? These are things that we're purging ourselves on. Society is purging itself of these cultural dynamics. Just like Ashley here, like we were showing, she's purging herself of wrong one. She's purging herself of the NFTs, of being led down the wrong path, led down a path where you're buying a copy and paste JPEG image. This is how the game works. This is not going to happen tomorrow, most likely, although it could, gradually then suddenly. But this is an evolution of a tipping point, a saturation point of enough people getting it at some point and saying, yeah, I'm done. This is over. This thing, and again, look around you. How many people have woken up just in the last 5 years of realizing what happened in 2020 and then seeing what's happened over the last 2020 elections? No one can trust anything. No one can trust any agency. And that administration has largely flown right into this administration. How much has really changed? Hey, we're not doing war. Oh, yeah, we're still doing all kinds of... I mean, at what point do people wake up? Well, guess what? People are waking up. But it's one thing at a time. It's one day at a time. It's orange pilling one at a time. It's red pilling one at a time. These things will continue to happen slowly and then suddenly. So again, inflation is not a hedge, or Bitcoin is not an inflation hedge. It is the solution. It is the protocol off the Titanic. You cannot see these things inside of any other asset. If you're, I hate saying it, but if you're voting for a new captain once you've hit the iceberg, what does it matter at the end of the day? If you're trying to shuffle deck chairs, which is switching in and out of assets, incurring taxes and penalties and whatever, I'm getting into real estate. I'm in gold and silver. You are still denominated in the US dollar. You are still denominated in the Titanic. You are on the Titanic, and you are the last. Maybe if you're in real estate or something or gold, you're the last one in the water, but you're still going to be 12,000 feet under. So that's why people don't get it, and it's very tough because then when people don't get it, like the Peter Schiffs or this guy, they're smart people, Merrill Lynch trader. You now have to question everything they've been doing, because now it's like, well, if you're not studying this and now you're running your mouth about it, now I have to question a lot of other work you've done. And it's tough. It's hard. That alone is hard for a Bitcoiner to start realizing, wow, I might be ahead of a lot of my mentors, people that mentored me for a long time. I'm ahead of them in this area. That takes another level of humility and not getting too far ahead of yourself, and also being okay with that and just understanding that and knowing that it's okay. So he's right. There are other better hedges. There are better hedges, I guess, theoretically. Sure. Bitcoin is the solution. Bitcoin's not a hedge. Bitcoin outruns the US dollar. It is the solution to the system. You have to worry about the volatility. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. But it's a lack of, and these crash outs are amazing. It's just a lack of knowledge. And then some people, yeah, there's some stuff going on. David Stockman, another one crashing out. Well, Bitcoiners, gotta love that store value performance. And this is something David Stockman, I followed him 10 years ago, read his, some of his books, followed him, thought he was, this great economist, really had it understanding. And again, Bitcoin's a 4-letter word. Understanding Bitcoin and studying Bitcoin means you start learning about everything around you, because it's a protocol outside the US dollar system. You cannot fix the current reality from the current system. You cannot fix it from the US dollar. The US dollar system doesn't provide you answers inside that same system. Jeff Booth has talked about this ad nauseum. His book back here, The Price of Tomorrow, probably one of the best books you could read, talks about AI, talks about deflation, where we're going in the future. The two systems are competing. Technological growth and the inflationary debt-based system we have now do not mix. And you get dumb games. You play dumb games, you're going to get dumb rewards, like AI trying to kill you. That's where we're at. If you don't have consumers and producers on the same side of the table, like Bitcoin does, like a hard-capped, credibly enforced, permissionless, trustless ledger that puts all consumers and producers on the same side of the table, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to have a system that eventually comes after you, because fiat is a winner-take-all system. It's a zero-sum game. Fiat government currencies all go to zero, so everyone is doing anything, and I mean anything, literally anything, to get whatever they can, because their time and energy is slipping through their hands. The inflation is eroding it. It's like sand through your hands. So you will do anything. You'll go out the risk curve. You'll be on Polymarket and Kalshi. You'll open up an OnlyFans account. You'll get in bed with any government official possible. You'll go to government because you need power. I mean, you'll do the dumbest and stupidest, the wildest things just to get ahead in life. And most people don't even know why. They don't even know why. All they know is I need to get ahead in life, and that's their moral. That's their morality. The morals have gone by the wayside because fiat, the idolization of money, which fiat itself breaks multiple commandments themselves forces you to idolize money. We're counting currency units because there's so many of them, you have to count currency units, and that's where you develop status. In a world where there's only 21 million or 2.1 quadrillion Satoshis, now we are not counting the Satoshis anymore because it's a fixed supply. We're now focused on the real wealth that matters, your time and energy, your calling, your passions. Because Bitcoin is, because we said earlier, it's 21 million, hard capped, credibly enforced, trustless, permissionless ledger that no one can corrupt. We now can save our time and energy. We now can get off the hamster wheel. We can now step off the hamster wheel. We don't have to crash out like David Stockman, like Tom S.A., like Clavicular. We don't have to crash out. We're not subjected to these things. You can do that right now by studying Bitcoin. You can do that right now. The store of value performance, go down 48%, 125 to 65 in 4 months. But hey, rug pulls make no mind to diamond hands, I guess. I don't know. Then again, a speculative asset is one thing. Real money is a wholly different kettle of fish. Again, economist guy, like he's gold and silver guy. Yet he's not talking about gold and silver that went down and had a crash all of a sudden. The bond market, gold and silver, these stable assets have been wild over the last number of years. But no talk of that. So it's this selective enforcement of the rules and just not being able to humble thyself and say, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, there's something that these people know that I don't know. I've been hearing about this thing for 17 years, for 10 years, for 2 years, whatever it might be. Maybe there's something that they know that I don't. That's what I did 10 years ago, 9 years ago, whatever it was. I don't even know what year it is. That's what I did. That's what I know many of you did here. Facts change, things change, life changes. And when you see behind the curtain, you can't unsee it. A radical shift, a measuring stick. This is only if we want a standard measuring tool for our monetary system. If we don't want it, if we don't want a standard monetary unit tool for our system, then hey, sure. If we don't want a global ledger, if we don't want a global economy, then sure, use gold and silver. Awesome. You can use it in your teeth. You can use it in your Tomahawk cruise missiles, whatever. If we just want to act like we have all this wealth when we're 40 trillion in debt, if we just want to have our time and energy stolen away from us and be on the hamster wheel our whole life, then we don't need it. We don't need Bitcoin. We don't need Bitcoin. It's a question we have to continue asking ourselves. So we're going to learn. We're going to learn these lessons. We're going to learn the lesson that Ashley learned, the $18,000 NFT lesson. This is something that's coming for all of us. It's coming for everybody. I contend it's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years, 5 to 15 years. This is what I believe is going to happen. This is what Stephen Perrinod and Giovanni with the power laws of just society and how things work there. It goes along with one of my biggest things, which is the demographic shift. And I've talked about it on here. Do you guys know the demographic shift is massive? The younger generations will not be going into gold and silver. The older generations will be gone at some point. Their wealth will be somewhere else, not with them. The older generation doesn't generally have to get it, right? And again, I'm blanketing. There's some of the older generation that needs to understand this, and hopefully they're here. Hopefully they see stuff like this. They are searching. They're humbling themselves. But the younger generation had no choice. That's why many in the younger generation are searching, or more, I should say, have been searching. But this shift over the next 10 to 15 years of the younger generation becoming more powerful, getting into power, having more wealth, that's when we'll see this massive leap. It's a generational thing. Slowly but surely, gradually and suddenly, time converts more than reason. So do the homework. Don't buy an NFT for $18,000 and now it's worth $5. Don't be Logan Paul. Don't be Logan Paul and buy one for 630 grand. Now it's worth 130. And Mason Ford said this, and we kind of mentioned this earlier. Exponentially deflationary technology is fundamentally incompatible with a debt-based monetary system. You can opt out now. It's up to you. You can put yourself on a Bitcoin standard. You can study. You can understand sound money. You can educate yourself on sound money. You can educate yourself on the past. What greater way? Your time and energy. You spend your time and energy You spend it going to work every single day, and then you got to store it in something. Your finite time and energy, you only get so much on Earth. What are you going to trade it for? Most people trade it for government cuckbucks that people can print in the basement of the treasuries. That's what you're saving it. A finite time for infinite dollars or infinite government currency. What kind of trade is that? The best trade that I know, again, since 2009, before this it was gold and silver, but the best trade is your finite time and energy for perfectly finite Bitcoin. Bitcoin is time and time is Bitcoin. This is, again, very simple, but we're going through the learning curve. We are going through the hard times phase, creating strong men. We do have to go through this. I get wound up and I get passionate about it because I don't want to see people burn. Quite honestly, like I'm being a wimp, I guess. I don't want to go through hard times, right? Like I don't want us to go through hard times. And so like part of it is just like, I know some people, and kudos to, hey, like, yep, screw it. We're going to have to get beat in the face. A lot of people are just going to get dummied in the face. We're going to have really bad times, and like that'll teach people. Kudos to you. That actually, I don't know. That's not me. It's so in your face and so simple, and it's right there. And I can't take that as the answer. I just can't. Maybe I need to humble myself to that, but I just can't take that as the answer. I fight back in the notion that our wills have been broken, that enough people are out there, enough people with the fire inside of them still, the fire of liberty, the fire of freedom, the fire of the Declaration of Independence, the fire of the Bitcoin white paper inside of them still somewhere. I believe most humans, well, I believe all humans have that inside them, actually. But I do believe that nature and nurture has beat that out of a lot of people. However, these things change, again, over time, but it's also the work has to be put in. The work has to be done. The system is a human system at the end of the day. Bitcoin could run for 1,000 years on its own with AI or whatever it is. But if humans don't care about it, and we don't, and it does feel like we're at an inflection point. I will say, I do feel like an onus. I do feel a moral, calling or what's the phrase? I feel that we're at an inflection point with AI, with disruption that is here and that's coming. And we're at the inflection point of Bitcoin and slavery. Which way we're going to choose? CBDCs and slavery and the government, UBI, or are we going to choose Bitcoin? I mean, we know CBDCs and UBI, we know that's government controlled. We know that that is the government and they're going to tell us what to do. And that feels like a world that I don't want to enter, selfishly. I don't want any of us to enter that world. I don't want my family to enter that world. I don't want you to enter that world. We have it. We're right here. We are right here. And I'll be damned if I'm going to be kicking myself 10 years from now. And I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. I just sat back and said, hey, stack sats and chill. Come on, bro. Just sit back and whatever. I'm sorry. That's just not me. That might be some people. That ain't me. Never has been. Never will be. That's why I got in a lot of fights growing up in hockey. It was standing up for someone else and trying to protect other people. It was really almost never got in fights because of myself. It was to protect other people at the end of the day. That's so, I cannot, will not believe that the fire is gone in most people. I just can't do it. I won't believe it. I know it's there. I know it's there. I know it's been beaten down. I know it's flickering. The light's flickering, and it's almost gone. The flame of liberty is it's starting to go down. But I know it's there. I know it's there. There's a lot of people out there, and it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of education. It's a matter of the right person saying the right thing to the right person, and all of a sudden, boom, the smaller rate minority takes off and starts taking off like wildfire. We will find that person. We will find the right people. We absolutely will. Truth will win at the end of the day. That's our thing. We know which way this is going. We don't know when these things are going to happen. We know directionally which way things are going. We absolutely know the government's going to keep printing currency. They're going to keep doing dumber and dumber and dumber things. And we know if Bitcoin can continue to enforce its supply credibly and stay decentralized and secure, that's where people say this is inevitable. It is inevitable if those two things stay true. Enforce the credible supply of Bitcoin, staying decentralized and secure, and governments will absolutely continue to print currency because they have to. Financial repression is the game out. Can't have deflation here, as Ben Bernanke said, no to. And the IMF in their paper in 2012 said financial repression, that's the name of the game, right? So we know 100% they have to print. So if those two things stay true, we know, therefore, if A plus B, or if A is, wow, I don't even know what the saying is, but we have A plus B equals C. This is very simple. Very, 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 very simple. So again, it's keeping the main thing the main thing. Don't get caught up in the noise. Don't get caught up in NFTs. Don't get caught up in the garbage. That's what a lot of the altcoins are, right? Altcoins, NFTs, people trying to trade in and out of gold and silver, like all this garbage. We know where the puck is going. Like we said, shot the puck about around the boards. I know when I'm dumping it in, coming into the zone, then boom, it's going to come around the other side. I got to get to the far blue line because it's going to be there. I know when it's good. Depending on how hard it was shot, I don't know. We don't know some of these things, like how hard is it shot? Is it going to get stopped, or deflected along the way? It's going to take a slightly different path, but it's going to come around the boards. We know it's coming. We just don't know exactly when it will get there per se. And that's the thing. We don't know when this thing turns. We don't know when the iceberg flips. We don't know when the saturation point is, but it is coming. And that's why preparing. So we talk about getting some firearms, some food storage, some water, get your cold storage, get your seed plate, go to Stamp Seed, get that, go prepare, go do the things that actually matter so that when these things do happen, which none of us know when it's going to happen, then we're ready. Because we will need to build up on the backside of this. We know where the puck is going. We know they have to print into oblivion. They admit it, and that's a low number. And we know we are incentivized. The system, which side do you believe more? Do you believe that all of a sudden the government's going to stop printing money? Well, no. We told you, we said why it's not. But is the Bitcoin system going to exist 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Well, yeah, the economic actors have an economic incentive of continuing the system and keeping the rules as they are. So you're incentivized to do this over here, yet the government is not incentivized to change what they're doing. So the government, again, this is keeping the main thing the main thing. It's very simplistic. But you don't learn this stuff in school. You don't learn this in media. You don't learn this anywhere. There's no kids books that talk. Why do you think there's no kids books that talk about any of this stuff? There's no children's literature. There's nothing in school that teaches you how to do basic common sense things. Balance the checkbook, home ec, all these things that maybe they did 50 years ago. They don't do any of that because they want you dependent on the system. So you have to take matters into your own hands. And more people, fortunately, are doing that. So the $18,000 lesson that most people are going to learn, they're going to get rug pulled, whether it's the NFTs, whether it's altcoins, whatever it is, they're going to die slow deaths. Everyone will learn the lesson the hard way. They go to the bank to get their stuff out and then, oops, sorry, you tweeted out something. Can't do that. Oh, digital ID. Oh, digital passport, digital health ID. Oh, sorry, you ate the wrong thing. Oh, you ordered the wrong thing. Like, where do we think this is going? They throw out trial balloons. They say this stuff years in advance, decades in advance. We know where the puck is headed. Prepare yourself now. Help people around you. Again, why aren't shows like this? Why aren't the 20 different Bitcoin shows? Again, here's some signal in the noise for you guys. Why aren't the 20, 30 Bitcoin channels, 40, however many there are out there? Why aren't these YouTube channels the biggest channels in the world? Maybe there's a good question to ask. Why is that? Why is it? Why not? Why? There's some signal in all the noise. That should tell you what you need to know. Why are there channels out there that are pumped up to into oblivion? That literally the trashiest fiat things in the world. Why is OnlyFans so big? Like, why are all these things? And those things are lauded. They're put out there. The legacy news, the legacy media, there'll be a thing in the end zone of the NFL. Like, who knows, right? You're never going to see like a Bitcoiner be like a slogan somewhere for the NFL or like, something on the legacy news or like, oh, look we're doing this, just because that should tell you what you need to know. Even though it's the greatest good you could be doing for humanity, all of humanity. What single thing could you do right now that affects all of humanity? Removing fiat and inserting Bitcoin, right? If there's one thing, if someone said, hey, what's one thing you could do right now just to help humanity materially on earth, right? We're not talking, with God, Christ or spiritually, something like that, right? Something on earth I could do right now, snap of the fingers. It'd be that. It'd be the one thing you could do, right? And that means like, hey, none of us are getting rich or something like that. So I'm going to take away any objections there. Someone saying like, oh, well, yeah, you just want it because you're going to get rich. No, that's literally the last thing you care about once you understand Bitcoin. Not when you buy Bitcoin, when you understand Bitcoin. But if I could just one fell swoop, remove all fiat currency and then give everyone Bitcoin and everyone, whether it's to replace exactly what they have and the fiat, the Bitcoin amount of what their fiat denomination is or whatever it is. But if you could give everyone, I mean, shoot, you can't do this, right? It doesn't work. But even if you divided 21 million by all the 8 billion people, right? And I think it's 240,000 sats per person on the planet. It would still in the 5, 10, 20 years end up basically in the same hands-ish. For the most part. I shouldn't say that totally, right? Because there would be things that changed. There wouldn't be as much grifting out there. There wouldn't be as much of that. Bitcoin would fix a lot of those things. It's not going to fix everything, but it's still going to fix numerous things out there, really big things that is stopping the oil spill from upstream. So now you have to have people that are engaging in work. You're still going to generally have some type of similar, probably disposition of the coins over time. Because even though, yes, there is free, greed, fraud, deception, printing, of currency, all of these things that happen in the fiat system, you're going to have some type of semblance of that play out over time, or it's going to be somewhat similar-ish. Anyway, getting a little bit changed. But again, this is a very important exercise. So again, why isn't Bitcoin content? Why aren't Bitcoin books the biggest sellers on the planet? Why is Bitcoin content not put out there, on a platform like all the other garbage, all the other filth? Why aren't there's children's literature why, ask yourself why that is. That's the question. That's the signal of the noise. That should tell you what you need to know. It disintermediates control for people at the top everywhere. So it's not going to be put on a pedestal. It's never going to be put on the pedestal. It is going to be a bottom-up revolution. That is how this is going to happen. Come hell or high water, it will happen. Voluntary open source code that people continue to choose every single day. That's not going away. Can't go away. People will continue choosing it. Gresham's law as well applies. As someone mentioned the other day, it's a great point. Gresham's law applies. People, the Bitcoin will stay in hiding, even though it shouldn't. We need to use Bitcoin. We need to have the circular economy going. We need to support Bitcoin companies. We need to support Bitcoiners everywhere. We need to build the circular economy out. We need to do that. But a lot of Bitcoin will stay in hiding. It'll stay in hiding, Gresham's law, and people will use the fiat until the system collapses and turns over. And people will demand it. And again, it goes back to the demographics end game here. The next 5, 10, 15 years, as the younger generations come up, guess what they are going to ask for? Guess what their young parents were buying? Bitcoin. Guess what they'll be using? Guess what the only thing they know is? Bitcoin. This is a generational thing. It's going to take a generation or two, a couple generations for this to happen, probably 2 to 3 generations. We've kind of been ending the first generation here. We're about to enter this second generation. So what does that look like? The next 15 years, next 15, 20 years maybe, right? This is how it's going to play out. And again, I stand to say that it's going to happen sooner. Maybe things happen in the interim when there's black swans and it speeds up sooner. Another 2020 happens, things of that nature, which I don't think are out there by any means. And they're going to speed up even more. You're going to have the Dutch farmers and the Canadian truckers, 2020 events. You're going to have these things speed up the debt, which will then speed up the price, the US dollar price, the fiat price. It will continue people in the face. And then you'll have people like this. You'll have the David Stockmans of the world. You're going to have the Tom essays. You're going to have the, citrine or whoever it is, the claviculars. You're going to have all these people. You're going to have all these people out here. And they're going to be continually beat down over time. The Peter Schiffs of the world, they're going to be continually beat in the face with the truth until you choose to humble yourself. That's it. That's it at the end of the day. Stack the dip. What up? What is up? I think you're LOLing at the first thing. So good. BIP 110 will mess up Lightning and coin joins. Luke also thinks coin joins are bad, etc. It should be private. I'm for less spam, but BIP 110 doesn't seem to be the right way. Any thoughts on this? Yeah, it's a great question. To be totally honest, like I've said numerous things about this over time. I am not for spam at all. At the same time, I've had a lot of good conversations recently with people in the background about this. I think a good one to listen to was the Huddle Knot and Knut Svanholm talk they just had. It was a really good one, kind of going back and through the arguments, kind of like for and against in a way, like kind of like steel manning, straw manning, steel manning the argument. like I said, I'll say this. I'm not for spam at all. I don't know. Again, like I said to you guys before, I'm not the technical expert, but there aren't many people out there that are the technical experts necessarily. Perception is reality at the end of the day. I believe Bitcoin's money. We've talked about that here all the time. Bitcoin is money. It's the greatest money humans have had. It's the best use case for Bitcoin. And it's the only chance. It is this. It is the life raft off of the Titanic. So the only thing I don't know is BIP 110, is that going to be the answer? And again, there's a 1 year period to test it out, stuff like that. My one concern is that, again, both sides. My concern is both sides in a way. It's, Wise Core opening up and blowing open the data, the op return. And also now, because we have dumb things happening, now we've got to possibly put dumb things on top of dumb things. And could that make things worse long term? I don't know. I don't know if any of us know the answer. So I'm not going to sit here and pontificate and say, oh yeah, whatever. I'm still looking into stuff. And the reason I don't talk about that all day long is because there are other people talking about it out there on both sides, right? And my job, as I was saying to you guys earlier, actually, this is coming up, is to shift context of the other 99.9%. Because believe it or not, which I'm sure you guys know, most people don't give a flying rip about what's going on inside of Bitcoin, right? Most people don't even know what Bitcoin is or what's happening. So, it's tough because my expertise in the sense is from the political world. It's shifting context. It's getting people fired up. It's helping people see life a different way. Maybe probably the best way is to say it. So everyone has their own expertise inside of Bitcoin, and so it's So your comment is very good, Stack the Dip, because that's kind of where I am for the most part. I don't know enough about it, but I'm learning a bunch more and have been for months in the background. Like because my journey is, I'm way far down the rabbit hole. So I'm learning about a lot of stuff and studying both sides and what's happening. And so that's where I am, but it's at times it's tough because I can't come on here and just talk about it all the time because our audience is a lot of people learning Bitcoin. They're trying to understand Bitcoin. They're trying to see what's going on. They're learning about monetary history for the first time. They're learning about sound money for the first time. So the average person, it just needs to know about that. And that's, again, what my expertise is generally. It's a context shifter. I'm not the content guy. I'm not the guy who's going to generally give you, hey, here's the content. Here's how to run a node, do all these things. There's other people in the world, obviously, that do that. You have the Matthew Kreiders of the world. You've got the BTC Sessions of the world. You've got, people that from different sides of the debate, the Knut von Holmes, the Callies of the world, it's an interesting thing that we're going to get into more. And we also have these other shows this coming up that we just started as well, that we'll be talking more about these as well with a broader group of people and kind of going back and forth on it. And, I've seen people on both sides. I've seen people on both sides start on both sides, and I've seen them change sides. So yeah, I mean, we're in a fascinating time inside the Bitcoin space in general, but this is kind of normal for the downtime in the sense of the price is down. People are super, ticked, but I love it. I mean, this is wartime, right? Are we summer soldiers or are we winter soldiers? What are we? So I love it. So we're going to talk about more about that too. And I don't, but again, I'll say this. I don't like how it's being handled though. I don't like how it's being handled. I don't like people getting kicked out of chat rooms. I think it's brutal how people are handling it. Generally, it seems like the pro core 30 side is handling it very poorly. I really don't like that. I don't appreciate the handling of it, which makes you believe there's other nefarious things going on top of that. That's what my spidey sense tells me. It's the same thing with, Mayor Bill de Blasio offering cheeseburgers to get me vaccinated. Like, what are we doing here? That's where my spidey sense goes off. So that leads me to think there are some weird things going on. And that's the spidey sense, the intuition inside you is where everyone really has to operate from. We can get caught up in the semantics. We can get caught up in like the dot and the I's crossing the T's. But again, your intuition should, how are people acting? What's the vibe, right? When you walk into a room, hey, how is someone acting? What's the vibe? A person gives you a weird vibe. That kind of stuff is, you have to follow your gut. You have to follow your gut intuition. And that's the thing I try to follow the most of anything, because we all have it. We all have it. Need a dose of your positivity today because I just bought the dip very heavily. Love it. Scary times, but I believe in freedom money. Yeah, I mean, I will say we just had Stephen Paranod. We just recorded with him. That'll probably be out in a few days here on Thursday around 11. We're doing that drop. And then we just had Checkmate on, obviously, that just dropped yesterday. And they both said the same thing. They take different approaches, but they come to the same agreement in essence. We're in a deep value zone, just price-wise. And so from a US dollar cuck buck perspective, we are in a deep value zone. It should be anywhere from 120 to 180,000, I believe. Those two guys respectively have, where we should be. And they're just like, yeah, we're in a deep value zone and this is great. Like, this is amazing. And it's great for the average person. That's why I'm pushing hard too, just for the average person. Maybe one person wakes up that sees this and it was on the fence and like, hey, okay, I'm gonna get some Bitcoin. I'm gonna start studying Bitcoin. And you never know. That person could be the Michael Saylor, the next Michael Saylor of Bitcoin. You just don't know. And go and orange pill millions of people. And that's all it takes. Tore up. Great to see you. Great to see you, brother. Great. Congrats to Dagger. Let's go. My cheapest Bitcoin buy ever today, $64,000. Got that local bottom. Is that the bottom right now? I don't know. I can't see the thing. So I love that. I absolutely love that. Cuck bucks. It's one of my favorites. It's you have to say things for what they are. The cuck bucks, government-run schools. You got to say things for what they really are, because we have this war on language, and it makes people believe things that aren't true. Like that's, Social Security, there's no security in Social Security. They're false dichotomies. So government-run schooling, not public schools, they're government-run schools. Let's call them what they are. Deflation is a natural state of a free market and only Bitcoin can measure it. You're 100%, BK. I know you're probably saying this because we brought up Jeff Booth and his book. This is the game. Deflation is the natural state. These systems cannot coexist with an inflationary debt-based currency. So if you want a true measurement, only Bitcoin can measure it. It's the only, Greg Foss always used to say that it's 11th grade math. And then I always used to joke with him and say, Greg, this is not 11th grade math, this is 7th grade science. Because you want one control. Or you want a control, and then you want one variable in your experiment. Well, how can you have that when you have this experiment going on with interest rates all over the place, printing of currencies all over everything? It's a mess, right? All of it's a mess. And so Bitcoin is the control. It's the yardstick. And Stephen Paranod talked about this today when I talked to him. He's like, if you care about the ruler, or having a meter be the same every day, or a 1 second count the same, or the kilometer, or whatever it may, a liter. If you want these things to mean the same thing every day, then you need a standard form of measurement. If you want a standard form of measurement in money, then Bitcoin's your only answer. I believe humanity will want that going forward. I believe we're going directionally toward a world where we want more transparency. We want more accounting, accountability. We want more merit. We want more responsibility, and all the goodness that comes from it. Putting consumers and producers on the same side, a positive sum game. All the things that come with it. Getting off the hamster wheel. Can't be stolen from. Can't be censored. Can't be frozen. All the mining, cleaning up the environment. I mean, for crying out loud, we don't talk about the BIPs here all the time. We don't talk about core versus knots here all the time. We don't talk about mining here all the time. But some of these, fights, number one, fascinating, I think are important, but also like mining, for instance, again, cleaning up the environment. One of the greatest things, if you're on the left and you love the environment and that's like your biggest cause, you should love Bitcoin mining. That's more signal than all the noise. Why is Bitcoin mining talked about nowhere? If you truly cared about the environment, it should be the biggest thing. The Davos conference should in essence be mining disrupt, like Bitcoin mining disrupt the conference. It should be that. If you really cared about this, then but they don't get to control it, right? They don't control Bitcoin. They don't get to profit enough. They want to scam you with ESG. They want to create fake narratives to steal all your money. I was just reading a kid's investing book the other day. They're talking about ESG in there, for crying out loud. I mean, it's a couple years old, so it's already outdated, right? It was outdated the day it was printed. But they're talking about ESG, like, well, if you worry about the environment and the government, then you can, send your dollars here to this. And it's like, this is just a narrative. It's just a narrative that a bunch of oligarchs created to scam you out of more money. Some new narrative. New one. So we want the control and the experiment. We want one variable at a time, and we want the control. Bitcoin is the control. It is the measuring stick. It is the true yardstick, meter stick, whatever you want to call it, that gives you the same measurement over time. And the entrenched, powerful elites, the legacy crowd, whatever, they don't like that. They don't like that. They grew up in a world that was fake, a pseudoscience. They were learning pseudosciences. Their jobs are in jeopardy. They are scared. They don't know what's going on. Some of them are just evil. They don't want that. They don't want that for humanity. They don't want control taken away from them. They want to control everything. It's a very simple premonition. It just is. I mean, how many times? I'm going to say that a million times. I don't know why this is. There we go. Huddle gang. Shinku Nakamoto. Let's go. Let's go. Got to stack your base trading cards to protect against inflation. Yes, you do. Yes, you do, brother. Good to see you, Daniel. You have to. Got to get your Bitcoin trading cards to go orange pill other people. I will say we put a lot of these packs inside of the Halloween baskets the last couple of years. Great. Phenomenal. People love them. Love them. Absolutely love them. We have people come back to the house and say, hey, do you have any more? But that's how you orange pill people. One day at a time. But it takes a while, right? It takes a while. These things move slowly. The iceberg flips slowly. It doesn't flip overnight. Yeah, and they keep bailing out the banks. Exactly. Yeah, much love, brother. Great to see you. I miss you, man. Absolutely miss you. I miss your light and your joy as you bring it. We need much more of it in this world. So don't ever lose that. We need it. We absolutely need it. They keep bailing out the banks. And they will. They're kicking the can down the road. The 50-year mortgages, the 15-year auto loans, negative rates in some places. They've talked about that. That'll happen over time. It's going to happen, guys. Prepare for this. Help other people when they are in trouble. They talk about it. They're scared. Throw it out there. Throw it out. That's it. That's it and that's all. Simple. Great stuff, guys. Any other questions, comments, concerns? We've been going for an hour already. I told myself I'm going to go quick once again because I'm not feeling great. If you can tell, I don't sound 100%. But recorded Stephen Paranod. That'll be in a couple days. Checkmate. That one. Go check that one out if you have not. Got a lot of great comments about that. Saying it was one of his better conversations. We talked about a lot where we're at. But these two conversations are really cool. If you are worried about price, if you're scared of price, whatever it is, that's what we hope to do here in the live streams to strengthen the conviction. Know what you own, know what you believe, and believe what you know. That's my quote recently. Know what you believe and believe what you know. Do the work. Like I told you guys this the other day, I think. After the Maduro thing happened, I went back and watched dozens, and I mean dozens, like 3 dozen different people, at least, left, right, gold guys, macro guys, got out of the Bitcoin echo chamber. And I watched some people that it literally hurt to watch them. Like you've had that feeling of it hurt to actually watch it because there was like so much cognitive dissonance and like fight. Like I wanted to fight the person that was talking. That's what I did for like 2-3 weeks afterward. All I watched. I didn't watch anything Bitcoin related. The whole first half, 3 weeks of January, I just watched all kinds of stuff. Professors, the Jeffrey Sachs of the world talking about, Judge Napolitano. I'm trying to think of the different people I watch, but everyone's got a different take. Watching, fighter pilot channels. Like I'm watching, people talking about it from every walk of Earth, basically, and trying to get a perspective on what was happening and what's going on. Seeing what, am I missing something? Is there something I don't see? And I'll tell you what, again, everyone had a different opinion. No one knew what in the world was going on. Nothing. And a lot of mind reading, a lot of cognitive dissonance. And again, it's tough. When you're in this here, when you're on the Titanic still, it's very hard. It's very hard to see what's going on. It creates a lot of cognitive dissonance. You've been told your whole life the dollar is great. Everything's awesome. Everything is awesome. It can't sink. You know how many aircraft carriers we have defending this dollar? Brandon, come on. You don't even know. You have no idea, Brandon. And then once you say, you know what, you follow your gut, you follow your intuition, you step off onto that life raft and you start slowly paddling away. You got your oars, the boat's full of men and women and children. And you look back and you realize OMG or OMG. I'm trying to say OMG. This thing is going down. You can't see it. Can't see it on the Titanic. Cannot see it. It's only visible. This is why Stanley Druckenmiller, Paul Tudor Jones, this is why these guys 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, looked at each other and said, hey, do you realize that 80% of the people that held Bitcoin here, they never sold. These coins never moved, even through the drawdown in whatever it was in 2017, then down to 2018, 2019, leading into 2020. Billionaires looked at each other and said, yeah, we need to look in this Bitcoin thing a little bit more. I think we need to allocate more money there. We need to study this a bit more. And that's why they believed in Bitcoin, because they put the work in. And they realized, wait, these people, they will go down with a ship. Pardon the pun here. They will go down with Bitcoin. It is the only solution we have. It is the only protocol off the system we have. So moral of this whole story is that all these people you watch, the thread that ran through all of them. I'm talking the young lefty Twitch streamer. I'm talking the guys on the right, the Tucker Carlsons. I watched Candace Owens. I watched, you name it. I watched literally 2 to 4 dozen people, minimum 2 to 3 dozen probably. But I watched, we'll call it 50 different people over the course of a couple of weeks. Because I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to start searching, and then the YouTube algorithm would recommend something else. I'd watch that. The thread between every single person, left, right, macro person, professor, Judge Napolitano, libertarians, everyone was Bitcoin would fix this. 95 to 98% of it. Bitcoin was the answer because it was the money. Bitcoin is a 4-letter word because people don't like just being told, hey, this is the answer, right? So that's why people don't like just being told what it is. They like to find the answer on their own. They like to go do the work. Now, not everyone does the work, but they like to feel like they came up with the answer. You can't just be told something. You lead the horse to water, you can't make him drink. So studying Bitcoin is the important part. Hey, we need to go study Bitcoin. If you just tell someone to buy Bitcoin or help them do it, then it's probably not helping them a lot. But studying Bitcoin, studying the properties of Bitcoin. Like we said, everything that comes with Bitcoin. Once you start studying Bitcoin, you start venturing into all these areas of the world that you never thought you would be in. Again, I'll tell you guys a couple, just, again, being vulnerable, which is what we do here usually, what we're fairly good at, is, Bitcoin helped me realize, I was a conservative Republican 20 years ago, and, definitely more libertarian. But I thought, it doesn't matter to vote libertarian because I wanted to be in the fight. And it was a lesser of two evils, right? It's all these cliches. Libertarians to me were like, oh, yeah, I'm just out in left field. It doesn't matter anymore. I was like, well, that's not me. I'm going to be in the fight. And so conservative, Republicans, that was the way it was. And the bailouts are what changed me. The bailouts is when I realized these guys were all on the same team. They're all going the same direction. Libertarians now are still out of the fight. They weren't doing anything. They weren't part of the fight at all. That was the part of the problem. And they were to a degree, right? Ron Paul, but look what happened. Because there weren't enough people being loud, nothing happened. Ron Paul was kicked out of debates in, what was it, 08? Was it 2004 or 2008? Kicked out of the debates, not in the debates. So the truth was being shrouded. It was being covered. Sarah Palin gets up, really probably was a libertarian in essence. And she gets up and she's talking about drill, baby, drill, energy, and just using common sense, just using normal, common sense. Well, what happened? She got taken right off the trail. She started doing too well. People are waking up too much momentum. And they're like, yeah, you can't talk anymore. Sorry. And so what did Saturday Night Live do? Start making fun of her. Oh, she could see Russia from her house. Start making up the dumbest things about her, which in reality, yes, you can see Russia. Actually, I lived in Alaska for a couple of years. You can see Russia on a clear day from Alaska. But can you imagine if, again, we have AOC makes a complete fool of herself with Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of our great state of Michigan here, just the other day at the Munich Security Council. No one says a word, right? The legacy media says nothing. I don't see Saturday Night Live skits. And again, I don't care. Go make a fool of yourself, Whitmer. Go make a fool of yourself, AOC. I don't care. But no one says a word. Again, signal in the noise. Signal in the noise. They create this red versus blue dichotomy. And the moral of this whole story was Occupy Wall Street and Tea Party 15 years ago, I thought they were on different teams. And I realized, no, they're on the same team. They're all on the same team. There were two sides of the same coin. I have many Bitcoin friends who used to be lefties, and I was on the right. We never would have been friends 15, 20 years ago. We never would have been close to being friends. But yet now, it's weird because I have 99% of the things I believe or think about are in common with that person. Well, did that all of a sudden change? Maybe some of it, maybe a couple % of it changed because I just told you one thing that changed with me, or like I want to be a fighter pilot or a Navy SEAL. And all of a sudden I realize war's a racket. There are times and places to go to war, but it's few and far between. That's another thing that changed. I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. I wanted to be a fighter pilot my entire life. And I wanted to serve my country. I wanted to defend my country. I wanted to defend those values. But I realized that these people that are controlling the money printers, the quintillionaires, they are just sending us to war. They're be for the next election. That's what 99% of the wars are there for, is to do that very thing. And you realize, oh, the world isn't what I thought it was. My country isn't what I thought it was, because humans are fallible. The documents might be amazing. They're exceptional. The Declaration, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, the Bitcoin white paper. But the humans, the Bible, right? All these documents are wonderful, but the humans are going to do dumb stuff in between there. Doesn't mean they're not going to be dumb humans or do it. Shouldn't say that. They're going to be humans doing dumb things inside of all those institutions. It just is what it is. But moral of the story is that, can you align yourself closest to the truth as you possibly can? As you possibly can. We're all fallible. We're all human. We're human as an individual. We're human as a collective. But can you align yourself closest to the truth? Because that's going to give you the easiest time to survive. It's going to give you the most amount of freedom, the most amount of success, the most amount of fulfillment, is aligning yourself closest to the truth as humanly possible. And we have our ways we fall off, or whatever it might be at times, and we bounce back. But the further you get away from the truth, the more you're trying to adjudicate that there's 70 genders, the further you get away, you're trying to build towers of Babel. You're trying to build AI to touch the sky. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's deleting all my emails. Oh, like the girl who's the head of safety at AI and Meta or whatever, deleting all my emails. And it's devising a plan to kill me. Well, of course, when you are playing God, when you try to get further and further away from first principles, from truth, which is what fiat enables and starts getting us further down that path to kind of drink from that poison chalice, well, now you're going to suffer the consequences. You play effed up games, you're going to get effed up rewards. It's very simple. When you eat fruit from the poison tree, you're going to get effed up. You're going to get messed up. But if you root yourself in truth, if you root yourself in first principles, if you root yourself in truth, in everywhere in your life will be much easier. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll be much easier, much more fulfilling. Right? That's what we can guarantee. It's not that the other ways can't work. It's just you're not giving yourself the best chance at succeeding. You are stacking the odds against you. If you're telling me that XRP or some other altcoin or ETH or Litecoin or Monero or all these other, some other coin is the thing, it might have some great technology in it or whatever it is, but I can't protect against all attack vectors, or it's not the best at protecting against all attack vectors. Some of them I have to give in to the state. Some of them are centralized. Some of them are proof of stake. Some of them, the attack surface is huge, and on and on and on. I'm not going to go that way because I know whatever can be corrupted will be corrupted. Whatever can be exploited will be exploited eventually. That's game theory. That's how this plays out. I'm going to give myself the best chance. I'm going to stick to truth as much as I possibly humanly can. And whatever the consequences are after that, let the chips fall where they may after that. That's, to me, the simplest and best way to approach all of these things. Governance, everything. Thomas Paine writing about this very thing, right? Can we govern ourselves, but government being a necessary evil, very limited, minimal government to keep some order, governance in your money, whatever it might be, but very simple, very small, very direct, localized, decentralized. Appreciate you guys a ton. I'm tired. Go check out the Checkmate interview. Appreciate you guys supporting the sponsors we have here, supporting the show, supporting what we do, supporting the Bitcoin economy, the circular economy. So go check the links out there. Get your seed plate. Get your cold storage if you haven't already. My goodness. Please don't let the iceberg flip and you're not prepared. Get your seed plate. Get some food storage. Get some firearms over here in America. That's something. Chris, what's good? Of course, you're welcome. Went way longer. Now I'm tired. I need to rest up. Got stream tomorrow. We'll probably streaming with Rajat, Robin, Jor, and Forrest. We'll be doing that tomorrow. And Wednesday, we'll have the stream, the BTC session stream. That one as well. We'll be doing that one. And then we'll have the Stephen Paranod episode coming out on Thursday, most likely, at 11. And then Friday, we'll do a stream as well. We will see you guys on Friday for the next stream. And yeah, and go check out the Checkmate one. And thank you for checking out the sponsors. Appreciate that a ton, guys. The sponsors appreciate it a ton. Bitcoin-only companies. Bitcoin-only, privacy, open source. Again, first principles. Please stick with the first principles. Stick with companies, whether it's the companies that help us or whoever it is. Stick with first principles. Please, whatever you do. And don't learn this $18,000 lesson the hard way. Once again. Let me see if I can pull it up. Don't learn this $18,000 lesson the hard way. A lot of people are going to learn it the hard way. Please don't learn it the hard way. We'll see you guys on the next one.